So, greetings from London. This is Maryum Sharif, and you are listening and hopefully watching us on YouTube. I've wanted to start to talk about modest fashion for quite a long time, and being in the Middle East and Dubai for many years, I have been influenced and just been so excited by modest fashion. So, my next guest is a lifestyle and fashion brand. She is the owner, the founder and CEO of Barjis London. Please welcome Barjis Chohan.
Hi,
Hi,
Maryam. How are
how
you
are you?
doing? Yeah, good,
Assalamu
thank you. How
alaikum.
are you? Yeah, walaikum salam.
Lovely to have you.
Yeah, thank you for inviting me.
So we connected on, I think it was Instagram
Instagram.
last year,
Yes.
and there was an event going on, and unfortunately I couldn't attend. But recently I saw your profile that came up on my Instagram again. You see, this is destiny. And whilst I was scrolling down, that I saw that you had worked for Vivienne Westwood, and I was like, okay, now I've got to definitely interview her, because someone that works for Vivienne Westwood has to have some talent and skill, because she doesn't take on anyone. And she is such a British, for people who don't know her, Vivienne Westwood is a iconic British brand, and she is iconic for British fashion, isn't she?
She absolutely is. I mean, when I was at fashion school, if there was anyone that I wanted to work with, it was her. And it took a long time, to be honest, to get there. It was one of those things that I had graduated from London College of Fashion. I was working at Harvey Nichols, and I thought, okay, what do I want to do?
What
What
did you
do I
study?
really
What did you study at
I
college?
studied fashion. I studied
Okay.
fashion at LCF, London College of Fashion. Then I did my master's at Central St. Martin's. Whilst I was doing my master's, I wanted to gain some work experience and to work for a brand, because the master's was only like twice a week. I didn't have to go in every day. So at that point in time, I was working literally 7 days, because I was doing my master's, I was working at Harvey Nichols, and then on top of that, I was working at Vivienne Westwood. So you
How
can
did you
imagine.
manage? I mean, that's always a desire, but how did you get introduced, or, if somebody who's
It,
listening wants to kind of go and work for a big brand, because I do creative mentoring as well. So how does one get into, did you just, back in the days it was different, right? So it's not like social media wasn't
no,
available at that time. So how
no.
did you introduce yourself?
I think I've always had a personal approach. So I just picked up the phone and called, and I said that who do I need to send some images to show my work?
Yeah.
And the receptionist, she forwarded it to another colleague, and then I emailed and also posted some of my work, because I think that's really important. We receive so many emails, but people don't have the time or effort even to open an email. So with me, throughout my career trajectory, it's all about building personal relationships and doing something physical. So we had an interview with the manager, and she really liked my work, and she said, okay, do you want to start from next week? And what was great is that because I was specializing in pattern cutting, which is really important for a designer to know, they put me in charge, responsibility of making patterns. And this was for her
Right.
new collection that she's going to show in Paris in a few months' time. And I thought, my God,
Wow.
that's a privilege, that really is.
Absolutely. I mean, that's so amazing that you see something on the catwalk that somebody is going to be wearing as well, and you
Yeah.
had like hands on, you know what I mean? Like, isn't that just the most amazing?
It was amazing, but it was an eye opener, because they expected you to
Absolutely. I was
work
going to say, what was the environment like?
24/7.
Very high pressure, fast paced?
Really fast pace, and majority of our employees or staff come from a German background, so it
Right.
felt like I was in Germany. They were highly efficient. They
Yeah.
didn't care if they came on Saturday or Sunday. They just got on with the work, and they had long hours. They had a happy hour at 5 o'clock, but they would continue after that. So then I thought, after like about 6 months, I just thought, I'm at that point that I'm an Asian, and my parents are kind of putting a little bit of pressure in terms of
Yeah. How
getting
did your
married.
parents feel that? I mean, like, different generation, different options for education now, and creative industries have become much more recognized as careers now, which I always emphasize. But for Muslim girl who wants to go into fashion, works for Vivienne Westwood, how did your parents feel?
Well, I just told them that I don't want to go into medicine. I did sciences at A level, and I was literally going to to study medicine, but I just thought, you know, something, there's that art side in me that
Yeah,
really is creative, and I love science. And am I really going into medicine just to wear that white coat, you know?
yeah,
Because it was more about title and prestige, and you know, parents drumming into you that, you know, it's important that you are quite clever, you become a doctor.
yeah,
Just
yeah.
told my
That, well,
dad,
that's the only
no.
kind of profession that they want you to become,
That's all.
isn't it?
That's all. There has to
Yeah,
be one doctor in an Asian family, in
yeah,
every Asian family,
exactly.
and I think I would have done it. I mean, in terms of academically, it wasn't that difficult, but the hard part was like convincing them to go into art school.
Right.
My dad just clearly said it, that you come from a conservative family. You know, it's not what we do. Fashion is very glamorous, and you know the society that you have to mingle with. It's not aligned with your kind of values in
Yeah,
a
and
way.
that perception also, the perception of fashion
Yes,
then was so different, wasn't
it
it?
was. It really was, and it was seen differently. It's like if you're not that clever, then you can go into the creative field.
Yeah.
You know, it was this stigma attached to it that, you know, it's because you're not academic. That's why you've done this kind of
Mhm.
vocational course. But with me, it was because I loved being creative, and I've always been very realistic in terms of what I want to do. If I paint, then I think, oh, I'm not going to make a lot of money as an artist, but if I transfer those prints into rugs or into clothing, then I think they're more functional, and
Yeah.
I feel I can make a bit of money from it too.
Where I wanted to actually ask you, so you've gone from kind of fashion and modest wear, and then I saw this jump into rugs, and I was like, how did she get from, fashion to rugs? So tell us about that, because
It's the other way
it,
round, actually. Once I got into Vivian Westwood, I did my work experience, work there. I just realized that it's at that point in time to settle down. So I wanted to get married and have a
right,
baby. And
okay,
then I thought fashion, working 24/7, it's not going to fit into my lifestyle at that point in time.
right,
So
okay,
I did a lot of freelancing in fashion, but then I thought, you know, while I was pregnant with my baby, 8 months pregnant, I started painting just for therapy and to kill time. And I thought, oh, that would look great as a rug, because it just looks amazing. And imagine having something artistic transferred into a rug, because that was quite new at that time. That was like good 20 years ago.
yeah, yeah.
And then what I did, okay, I had my baby, and then I started doing more designing, and I thought, let me just take my baby and my husband and my mum to Dubai and then show them all this work. So I used to make back-to-back meetings, and I secured a project for Emirates Towers just at the
Why
back of
did you
meeting
choose
space.
Dubai? I mean, that's I mean, I've lived there. It's just most amazing. It's like if I could choose between London and Dubai, I can't actually. I love them both. But why Dubai for you?
To be honest, at that time I was pretty naive. I just thought they've got lots of money, and they you know, they've got hotel projects, and that's it. You know, it will be easy money and quick way to enter the market.
Right. Okay.
And also in the UK, it's like you send your CV, you send your work, and then you don't hear from them for about 6 months. In the
Yeah.
Middle East or in Asian countries, you can actually pick up the phone and contact the CEO on the same day, and if they have time, they will meet you. So
Yeah,
I
and
think
business is done so differently over there. It's
it
a
really
human
is.
contact. That if you send a CV or it's the opposite
It's
actually.
the
They
opposite.
want to see who you are and your personality, and
Absolutely.
everything is done over food and no
Yes.
conversation and the human contact, isn't it? Which
Yes.
is definitely different. So that led you to Dubai.
Yeah, that limit. And then I got one project, and I just did project after project. And then I just thought that I had to start from scratch, because I only literally had £3,000 of
Quite an
my
ambitious
freelancing
move,
work.
isn't it? That was quite an ambitious move to go. It's not just down, another county. It's actually not even another country. It's continents, really, isn't it?
I'm too driven in that way. I'm really reckless in a way. I don't have any fear. I just do it.
I love
So,
that. I love that. That's a true creative.
exactly. For me, it's like, okay, let's try it. If I fell, I fell. It doesn't matter. As long as I tried. I don't want to look back and say, oh, I was afraid of failure. That's why I didn't really do it. I
Yeah.
just wanted to share a story in terms of when I started my entrepreneurial journey, which I
I,
think could
I was going
resonate.
to ask you actually, because I'm saying Barjis, but Barjis London, but it's a very unique name. I actually haven't heard of it. And then where are your roots from actually? Where is the name or origin? Where's your heritage?
Well, I was born in Karachi.
Oh, right.
So
Okay.
yeah, Karachi, Pakistan. And then my parents, they moved to London when I was 3. Well, actually, my dad moved way before that.
So
But
it's not Barjis, it's Burgess, right?
it's Burgess, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
What does
it's
it mean?
Burgess. It means unique shining star. That's what I've
I love it. Yeah,
heard.
nice. I love the meaning. It's such a unique name as well.
It's interesting because in Lebanon, it's like a game. So it's like a board game. So whenever they say, oh, in the Arab world, barges, they kind of, they think it's a board game. And I said,
No,
no, it's not a board game.
Barjis London. So they probably thought that you've got board games.
Yeah, exactly. I know. So
So
in
sorry, what were you saying? Yeah.
No, I was just saying that my entrepreneurial journey started like way, way early before even I went into fashion. Like I was 17, and when I was doing my A levels in sciences, and as I said, that I've always had this dream of being creative. So
Where did it come from though? What did you see something? Have you been something
my
around an
grandmother,
environment or
my
because
maternal
sometimes it's
grandmother, she was very
oh
artistic. She used to do all whatever she gave my mom, it was all hand sewn, and she was extremely creative. The pillowcases, all the bed sheets and everything, she used to make by hand. So she was talented. And also, I think I've had a lot of influences from people who were entrepreneurs. I'm so glad my parents used to take me every summer to Pakistan. My paternal uncles and family friends who were business people, and the way they started their businesses from rags to riches. I've always loved that. I've
love it.
always loved
Yeah.
people who started from nothing, and that's inspired me. So when I was 17, what I did, I went to the British Library because Google wasn't all that at that time.
Yeah. Well,
And what I
there wasn't even Google, was there?
there wasn't. So what
We had
I
to
did,
Google ourselves. Literally, you have to do the hard work ourselves. Encyclopedias, right?
I know. I had £70 and I just thought this is pocket money. What do I do with it? Like, and a young girl would just splash it out on a dress or something.
Yeah.
But I didn't want to do that. So I went to the British Library. I digged out, did some research on all the CEOs of petroleum and oil companies in the Middle East.
Oh, right.
And then I wrote a poem and I posted that poem to 50 odd CEOs in the Middle East.
Wow. Hello.
So from Qatar,
Not only writing
Kuwait,
poetry, but let's distribute it around the world.
exactly. But I just targeted Middle East and I thought, let me just do it. Let me just have fun. And I didn't tell anyone about it because they thought how foolish you could be. So I sent this ridiculous, hideous poem to them and said that I want to shop fashion store in Paris. And it rhymed, even the poem rhymed.
Right.
So I just thought, okay, let's leave it. A month later, a manager called from a company based in Kuwait. And they said that, oh, the CEO really loved your poem.
Oh, how lovely. That's going to resonate with someone.
I know, yeah. And he said he wants to meet you. And I said, okay, this must be a hoax or something because this doesn't happen.
Yeah.
I just did it out of fun, and I didn't know that this could
And you were
actually happen.
17 at the time.
I was 17. I was sixth form doing my A levels and hoping to go into medical school, but something popped in my head and I thought, let me just do it. So I told my dad, and I said, this person has contacted me, and he said, oh, forget it. You know what it is, the men and everything, ignore it. But I said, look, it looks quite genuine. I mean, he's got a penthouse or something in Hyde Park. He's holiday home. He's invited me. Why don't you come along? Because I can't go alone to someone's penthouse. Right. So I dragged my dad.
And your father's probably thinking, what is going on with my child?
Exactly. He was saying, in Urdu, he said, Panchod, I know what is this? Why are you taking me here? Because
what a great sport, though. What a great person. Do you know what I mean? Of course, the reaction would be that, quite strong. But, what a great sport. Like, oh, come in, let's go then.
Okay, yeah, that's why he said, okay, just do it. Because he knew I'm a bit different to his other children. So I thought, might as well just go ahead. So we went there. The gentleman came out and he gave us a lot of respect, and he's got his Arabic attire, and then he gave us kava, and he said, I loved your poem. He said, nobody in my entire life, he must be around 50, has sent a poem. And when you told me that you're 17, I was just absolutely shocked. And he said, if you want a store in Paris, you can have it. Just send your business plan and I'm going to support you.
Wow. Look, you see, that's kismat. Like you've got to make the effort to do something. It's like
You
you sending it
do.
like a CV for a job, but
Yes.
it was your poetry, it was your heart. You literally sent out your heart for 50 CEOs and said who's going to catch it.
Exactly. So there were two responses, and he said that, but then I kind of messed it up with a business plan. I didn't have experience, so
And so young, you
yeah, I
know.
was too young and I was
Yeah, yeah.
greedy. I said I want a company car and everything.
Okay, let's get like we're getting too ambitious. So
We're getting too
yeah,
ambitious.
yeah. But
Yeah.
I mean, like, you know what? That's just, being ambitious. There's nothing wrong with having materialistic things as well.
Yes.
But okay, so you obviously had to transform and create yourself first. And so
Yeah.
I'm actually quite interested in. So you also worked for Monte Carlo.
Yeah. It was a French fashion house, so we were
Yeah.
doing kind of couture work, and I
Did
was
that
quite
come after Vivienne Westwood? And
actually.
or did
It came before, kind of simultaneously at the same time. I was
yeah.
doing freelancing for quite a few companies, but this one kind of stood out because they invited me to Paris. I went to their fashion show to understand their brand, and
And
it's
how is
like
that? How's Paris? And first time someone's going to Paris for Fashion Week. How is that experience?
it was quite overwhelming, to be honest. It's I
Is
just
it what you
felt it was.
expected? Is it what you expected in your mind?
It's more than I had expected, to be
Yeah.
honest, because there's so much elegance and everyone just is so natural at fashion. It's like it's effortless for them. They
Yes.
don't have
Yes.
to make an effort to look
Yes.
good. And when you're there, and I tried to make an effort, but I still stood out because I didn't have their kind of sophistication and elegance. But it was a wonderful experience, and I did
Yeah.
that for about 2 years. Gained a lot of insight into how women want to dress, then
Yeah.
working at Harvey Nichols, understanding it from a customer's perspective, which was really important. Working in Vivienne Westwood to learn the technical side of fashion.
Yeah.
And I think but this is what a lot of people don't realize. To be a fashion designer, you have to go through the proper channels. You can't
Yeah,
just
you have to go
cut
through a
corners.
process. There's
You
a
can't
creative
cut corners.
process.
Yes,
Exactly. For everything in life,
yeah,
there is a process, isn't it? And you have to
yeah.
follow that format in order to become that butterfly at the end,
Absolutely,
right?
absolutely. But
Yeah,
when I
it's
went into modest
people
fashion,
think that you're just a fashion designer like that. That's it. You just get up
no,
one day and just become a fashion designer.
no.
But excuse me, no, it's much more than that.
It's more than that, and there's a lot of psychology in that. You have to understand
Yes.
different mindsets, you have to
Yeah. Yeah.
understand taste, and you have to know about pricing and the market. Everything is so different. So when
Yeah.
I was doing these trips back and forth to Dubai for about 10 years and making
So you
my
did rugs over there.
yeah, I did rugs for
Yeah.
about 10 years, but then I diversified into doing exhibitions in New York, and it really grew from a small business starting from the kitchen table.
Wonderful.
It grew organically, and whilst
Right.
I was traveling, I realized that I can't find the clothes that I want to wear, and this point in time I started wearing the hijab.
I was going to say,
um,
did you wear the hijab even when
no,
you
no,
were,
no,
so you just
no, my
done that after
parents, no.
marriage?
Yeah, I start not even after marriage. After my second baby, I decided
Okay.
to wear it. It was just a personal choice. My sister
Right.
doesn't wear a hijab. I
Yeah.
come from a traditional kind of Pakistani cultured family. They
Yeah.
were not that religious. They did their 5 time prayers and everything, but not like physically they didn't look religious, if you know
Yeah.
what I'm
Yeah.
trying to say.
Yeah.
So in that sense, it was just I couldn't find the clothes that I wanted to wear, and I thought, why not design it and go back? This is the market that I want to target.
Right. And I don't think, was modest fashion something quite big at that time when you thought of it?
I
Or
think
what
when I
year was
started
this?
out, it wasn't, but when I entered the market, all of a sudden, a lot of people were coming. But what I found really challenging is that a lot of the designer brands didn't have any design background at all. So I
Right.
was competing with people who were just creative entrepreneurs who were
Yeah.
just setting up business, or they were fascinated with this idea of modest fashion,
Yeah. But they
and
didn't
they
have
just
any
want
technical experience
no,
coming.
no
Yeah.
technical experience. So I had to still compete with the mainstream market because I felt that there wasn't really credibility within the modest fashion industry. So I was competing with mainstream designers, and majority of my buyers were Caucasians. They
Right.
were white, middle class, upper class, based in Europe or
Yeah,
America,
I
who were
want to
buying.
kind of eliminate this myth
Mm,
of modest wear. You
yeah.
see, modest wear, people think that you have to wear the hijab and the abaya,
Mm,
and
mm,
that is modest. Modest just means that you're modest in your own style. Explain modest wear
Well,
actually.
for me, modesty is about how you carry yourself. It's how you speak. It's your lifestyle choices. I think the last thing is your clothing, to be honest.
Yeah, you know,
So,
and I noticed that in Dubai, when you think about modest wear,
mm,
I mean, that really changed my perception. I went in with my Western glasses, and all I saw was, you know, the Middle East, on, you know, on in the summers here in Knightsbridge when I used to work in Harrods as well, and you
yeah,
know, then after that, I didn't have much of a perception of their culture and or anything. And when I moved there, I realized how elegant modest wear is, and it's not. Um, you know, it's something that they do out of choice,
yeah,
willingly, but how amazing do they mix and match colors and prints, and it doesn't even look that you're not, that it's modest wear,
yeah,
you know what I mean?
yeah, yeah,
And I think
yeah,
I've always been a fan of modest wear, and I've always
yeah,
wore modest wear, but not in the sense that deliberately or
yeah,
unconsciously have done it, you know.
yeah.
So anyway, your journey to modest wear was really because for personal choices.
It's for personal choices. I just felt that I couldn't find the clothes. If I had to buy something on the high street, you have to go to your local tailor to adjust it. Either it's too fitting, or it's too short, or the hemline or the neckline is an issue. In the Middle East, I launched my fashion side through Dubai Fashion Week, but it
Oh
didn't go
right,
down that.
okay.
Yeah, but you know, the
What a
fashion
great
show was.
platform that is as well, isn't it? It's a real amazing platform to launch your brand.
Absolutely. It was brilliant. It gave me a lot of connections, but I feel that I didn't really understand the modest market in Dubai, because there's an element of contradiction, because down there at that time they used to wear the abaya. Now
Yeah,
things have changed a little bit,
yeah,
because I think they've become a little bit more liberal. But they
yeah,
used to wear the abaya. Then they used to have women only parties where they wore their couture clothes and, you
yeah,
know, really revealing clothes, female oriented parties and everything. So there was
yeah.
this element of contradiction which I didn't understand. So they couldn't understand how you can make an abaya more stylish. Abaya is just to cover up, that's it.
Yeah.
While in the European market, the abaya is quite stylish. I mean, you know, it's got
Mm.
lovely cuts, it's got lovely flow, there's textures, and it's more like outerwear and also innerwear. While
Yeah.
for them, it's just like outerwear, and that's it.
Right. Yeah. I mean, when I went over, and I had worn the abaya because obviously I had married into a family which is a bit more orthodox than myself,
Yeah,
and I didn't mind. I loved it actually, but black is not really my color. It's not.
yeah,
It's not my chosen color. Actually,
yeah.
I think sucks the life out of me. It's very, you know, it's a very powerful color. And then when you've
Mm,
got the sun and everything, it's just something that doesn't agree with me. And I said, well, why can't I change the color, or what can I do
yes.
this? No, 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 you have to wear black. And I was like, oh God.
Mm,
But you know, and now you see it, you know, 8 years forward, that that garment is just completely transformed from color to
it
texture
has.
to combination.
Completely, completely. And I think now the essence of it is like is changed too. The definition of it has changed. And I think with the Middle East clientele, I think it was all about, my modesty is like really kind of classic with a little bit of modern twist. So it's quite
Right.
minimal, my clothing, which kind of appeals to the Western woman more than
That's
the
quite
Middle
European
Eastern
style,
woman.
isn't it? Minimal, you know, light
Yeah.
pastel colors, and yeah, as I see, you've got some light colors on. But that's a very European palette.
Yeah, it's no, I love prints and I love colors, but I feel that I don't like over the top design. So there has to be that element of balance.
Yeah.
And even in, like, you know, I want to launch in Pakistan, and I feel I'm trying to find a style that will resonate with them. But down there, that, you know, they don't mind mixing lots of prints, lots of textures, lots
Yeah,
of
Pakistan
embroidery,
is
and
the
with
second
prints.
biggest buyer of modest fashion, isn't it? It's the second biggest market.
Yeah. And,
So
and, and Pakistan, I think they are naturally elegant. I mean,
yeah,
elegance comes from Pakistan. I think every Pakistani woman is elegant.
yes,
Um, I personally feel that modesty kind of originated from South Asian countries and Pakistan, because the way they dress and the way they carry themselves is very modest. But things are changing. But what I want to do is give a modern take to the modest attire in Pakistan, because I
yeah,
feel there are two extremes. So there's
yes,
one side which is very religious, and you know that for them it's just totally covering up in
yeah,
black. Then the other side is too liberal to the extent that they don't have any boundaries. So it's like Barjis is moderate because I feel I am moderate by nature,
Yeah.
and moderation is Islam, you know. And I feel that we as Pakistanis, we are moderates naturally, but we're losing that. We're going from one party to the other, and there's no balance in it. So I feel that maybe it's the right time to introduce Barjis to Pakistan to cater for the moderate women who don't have a voice, actually, you know. I feel that they're kind of lost because there are two extreme versions of what Pakistani people should be, and they're just fighting with each other.
I love a good scarf with my outfit. I'm not wearing it right now, but I actually think that is part of my outfit when I'm wearing a Pakistani dress. And so in the last few years, I even went somewhere and my cousin said, "Do you want to bring that? What do you want to dupatta for?" And I was like, "Because it's part of my outfit and I like it. It's part of my outfit. I don't feel completely like my scarf and whatever." And I wear it in a nice funky way. And so you've got like a group of people in Pakistan that wear dupatta and the non-dupattas. You know what I mean? The scarf and the non-scarf. And you think, well, no, what's wrong with it? It's just part of my signature. Actually, I always have a scarf, even if I'm wearing English wear. You know, it's part of my my signatures. But I find that you're right. It's a very different category over there in Pakistan. It's very different, and it needs to be introduced. I think that they would love it as well.
I think so. I think for me, going on holidays to Pakistan every year, I just feel that the shalwar kameez without a dupatta, it feels like, the head is missing from a body. It doesn't look complete. It feels like all of a sudden you want to do this to yourself. Do you know what I'm trying to say? It's like, even if it's hanging on your shoulders elegantly, it just looks complete.
Right.
That's how I feel it, and it's part of the modesty and elegance that Pakistani women, are synonymous for. They're well known for it. So,
absolutely.
So I think that in that way, we should not kind of see the benchmark of modernity and progression is not following the West. It's actually being accepting who you are for who you are. And
that's
that
what it is.
really
I think that's what fashion and style is to be authentic and be true to who you are.
Absolutely.
I see with social media that everybody tries to be this Kardashian or follow celebrities, and where they've become, and I see this new wave of young generation of following everything on Instagram and forgotten actually who they are themselves. What do you actually like, and what colors do you like, and what do you feel about something? Like, find your own style. It's okay to be inspired, I find that, but don't be influenced that you want to become that person. Why would you want to be somebody else? Like, why do you want to copy somebody else? So I think social media has really influenced, and I think that fashion is always what we see in the media, where we see in the magazines, and I think that's a big influence. And I think that the more that modest wear is recognized in both traditional formats, or conventional, traditional to the West. And I think Westerns definitely, I like the duster jacket became very popular a good couple of years ago, doesn't it? I can't live without a good duster. I made so many actually in Dubai because that was my signature. I was like, I'm not wearing Dubai, but I'm wearing a good couple of, I made some long duster jackets, and that's amazing, isn't it? You just throw it on, and just wear anything else on top, and it's kind of the layering effect. And I think modesty is actually, it's a layer. That's what I was just trying to remember, actually, that
it is a layer.
For me, when I think about modest wear and what I do, I layer everything on. So like, I've got a shirt, then I've got like another jacket, and I've got a scarf, and then I've got a hat. You know what I mean? So I think it's all about layering for me.
Is that okay? My phone is ringing.
Oh, do you want to get it?
Yeah,
let me just pause it.
Yeah. Sorry about that. That was just unexpected.
It's okay. I was just telling everybody, this is what happens when you're on a Zoom call, and it's life that happens, isn't it?
It does, yeah.
So I say to everybody, turn your phones off, but yeah. I wanted to ask you something, actually. What is your take on, I find that hijab became this big trend, like 7-8 years back, right? Everybody wanted to wear the hijab. And now you have some big influencers that are now taking off the hijab. And what is your take on that?
I think what happened when you succumb a slave to your audience, then you have that pressure. So it's all about numbers, unfortunately. And I think there's tremendous amount of pressure on influencers and YouTubers to be at the top. And I can't really speak on their behalf, but I feel that they, when your followers become your only source of income,
Yeah.
sometimes you start compromising. And I feel that if they weren't YouTubers, maybe they would still have that hijab on. And
Yeah.
there's a lot of trolling, there's a lot of negativity, there's a toxic culture which totally puts people off. And I feel that
But someone who's made their name on being modest, having modest wear and being modest and having wearing the hijab, and they've made their whole brand according
yeah.
to the hijab, and then they remove it. Not that they can remove it for whatever reasons, but what I'm saying is that your audience is built on the hijab or the
I
modesty.
feel sad.
Yeah, that
I
tag,
feel,
right? That tag.
I
You
really
built it
feel
on that
sad.
tag.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I feel sad that they had to do it, and why they had to do it, I'm not questioning it. But once again, is when you put your whole soul of income on subscriptions, for example,
Yeah.
and all of a sudden something doesn't like something about you, you're going to lose the subscribers. And
Right.
then you have to find another set of subscribers. And then you want to look at a bigger picture, because human beings, we're greedy fundamentally. We
Yeah.
have to control that. We have to be aware of what we're doing. And sometimes, we think about intentions. Oh, my intention is wear to the hijab. Allah is looking at me. And of
Yeah.
course he is.
Yeah.
Of course he knows your intentions. Whether you wear the hijab or not hijab, there's no guarantee that you're going to go to heaven.
Yeah. Yeah.
But having said that, sometimes I feel that we fall into a trap of becoming a slave to our audience. And then it becomes all about algorithms and about numbers. And if you are relying on that income to pay your rent or your mortgage, and it's not coming to that base level, and you have to increment it because your standards and lifestyle have increased, then you start compromising. And
Have
that's
you
the
been
bottom
have you
line.
been trolled, or have you had a backlash because you wear the hijab?
No, never really, to be honest, because I don't put myself out there in that sense. I always let my work speak for itself. So
Yeah.
I've never really had that intention of becoming an influencer or YouTuber. I
Yeah.
feel that people know my style. So I've kept a back seat. The only place where I feel that I speak up is when I go for motivational speaking, or people invite me to
Yeah.
conferences and everything. Or if I'm going to do my Barjis show in the future, if I do it, then that will be a reason, because I feel that I'm adding value to someone's life. And that's the whole point of doing it.
Yeah.
I don't want to make my whole soul of income basically of showcasing my house or my car or my handbag, and making my life a Kardashian lifestyle,
Yeah.
and that's the biggest problem that we're having, is that we are falling for this reality TV, and we don't realize that it's consuming us. We're
Yeah,
losing our
absolutely.
souls in the process.
Yeah, I think we have to just live. This is the year of the awakening, and I think that we should consciously live. And when I think about it, that what you do should be a conscious effort.
Yeah.
When you look at fashion, if the world is changing and fashion
Mm,
has to change,
mm,
fashion is the second biggest polluter in
mm,
in the industry after oil.
absolutely.
And you think about it, and then so as fashion designers, you have a responsibility.
Do. Yeah.
How have you managed in these last few months with COVID? Have you had any challenges? Have you had to change things? Because we've gone from like conscious living, recognizing that the materials that we use, we have a lot of people that are changing to vegan. There's so many aspects of change in this year. How have you changed any, or have you implemented something different during this last 4 or 5 months?
To be honest, is that I was doing it a couple of years before this happened.
Oh,
So
right.
I
Okay.
went to Portugal, and I looked at vegan leather suppliers and sustainability in
Oh,
terms of,
wow. That's quite, so you were doing
yeah,
that. What
I
made
was doing it
what
before.
made you switch then? So you said you've done it a few years back. Why did you think of that? How did you come to that
A
conclusion?
number of reasons. I did a site visit to my rug suppliers and I saw a child working there. I didn't feel comfortable.
Mm.
Same with the embroidery supply. And I thought this has to change. I need to have really full control over my supply chain. And that was a long time ago. And then I also thought about things like stock. I'm a high-end brand, so I don't have a lot of stock. I don't believe in having piles and piles of stuff and then selling it at a really cheap price, and
Yeah.
then having workers who are working 24/7 and children working on your garments just to give the customer a £30 jacket.
Yeah.
So I was always aware of that. So I've done a lot of sourcing trips to Italy and to Portugal to kind of find better suppliers who are sustainable, and I can understand their process so that I feel I'm in control of what I'm doing. So that's always been consciously at the back of mind, because I believe that I could be selling like a rug for £4,000, but if there's a child making the rug, it's
Yeah.
pointless for me. I can't sleep at night. I mean, for me, peace of mind is sleeping well at night. And that's really, really important for me. That am I harming anyone? Am I harming a person or a child? Or am I treating my employees with respect? All these things are really important, because I didn't set up this business to make millions and millions of money. For
Yeah.
me, it was to balance my life, that I can have my children, I can do my school runs, I could be creative, I can make a little bit of money on the side. And alhamdulillah, that was my intention, but it's grown.
Yeah.
But it was purely for work-life balance. That's why I set up my business.
Yeah.
And so COVID, I think what happened in COVID is that I was doing a lot of traveling, and it made me realize that sometimes I wasn't really healing from my past issues, which we all have. So I think COVID gave me an opportunity to really kind of confront my demons and
Yeah.
question what I really want to do. Why am I doing it?
I
The
think
why
everybody's done that.
question
And,
was
for
there.
you to
Yeah,
say that as well, like, I think everyone, I think, no matter what size of your business, no matter who
yes,
you work for, or if you don't work, if you're a mother, I think
yes,
like every single person I know has questioned themselves and had these
yes,
conversations and dialogues with themselves.
yes.
So what
So, so,
conclusion did you, what
so
conclusion
for
did
me,
you come to, and what have you learned from COVID?
I've just learned that family and having human connections is the most important thing. It's about building relationships with people without having a hidden agenda, because I feel we became very selfish. We would only pick up the phone to call
Yeah.
people if we want something from them, but we wouldn't actually call them and just say, how are you feeling? How are you doing?
Yeah.
Just calling them. So I think in that way, we needed that. We needed to humble. God, this was Allah's way, God's way of humbling the world, because we were becoming too powerful for our own liking. And
Yeah.
one virus has completely put us in our place.
Absolutely. It's told us who's boss, really. You know what I
Yes,
mean? It's like you just sit put until I tell you to
yes,
fly. I'm really
yes.
missing flying, by the way. How do you think, what do you see, what is the future of fashion? Because have you seen, I just saw recently with Selfridges, and they've got a big sustainability campaign. We shop differently now. Everyone is trying to change fashion. How do you see fashion in the future, and what are the major changes? How do you think we will shop?
I think in 2017, I started, my last fashion show was in Malaysia. I stopped doing fashion shows purely because I thought it was an extravagance. There are
Right.
other ways of actually showcasing your work, which is more cost effective. The foot traffic, the people, and showing this kind of very narrow vision, or one definition of what a woman should look like.
Mm,
I think it's so outdated. And now a lot of people, because of COVID, they're forced to think about the marketing strategies. And are fashion shows really important? No, I don't think they are. I think it's just extravagant expense, catering for the elite, who are 1% of the population,
yeah.
giving them front row seats, making them feel important, but that's about it. So I think it will be basically the audience ruling and controlling the designers of what they want. They're the one who demand sustainability. They're the one who demand, care for workers and pay, and making sure that they're paid properly. So I think the audience and the customers have a lot of power now, not the brands.
Yeah.
In that sense, we have to go back to basics. We have to kind of know what is your brand ethos? I set up the business to provide something special for a customer, and that's what I wanted. I didn't want it to be kind of mass-produced products, because I knew that it was affecting the environment and the people that I work around. Um, I think it's going to become simple and clear, and people want transparency now. They want to see where things are produced. Whether they're produced in Pakistan, you have to put the label. You can't say it's made in Pakistan, but some of the trimming is done in Italy, and then you say it's made in Italy. I think there was a lot of cheating and a lot of deception and a lot of misinformation from the designer brands to the audience. But now the audience, especially the millennials and the younger generation, they are really educated.
Very clued up, and they're very conscious.
They know what they want. And for them, I think most important thing is sleeping well at night. You know, there was that generation who wanted to make a lot of money. But this generation is aware, they're conscious, but also I think they have an opinion and they have a mind of their own. They're not interested in just buying something just for the sake of buying it. And they're going to dictate how the brands run their businesses in the future.
So I know that you have an initiative as well. I used to do mentoring, and I had my own mentoring charity for young people from disadvantaged backgrounds. And you kind of do something very similar to that. Tell me about your initiative.
For about 6 years, I've been going into schools, and I wanted to kind of inspire young people to go into creativity. That's how it started out. So I started off going into schools, my daughter's schools, and doing this creative workshops.
How old are your daughters, by the way?
Oh, my eldest one is 21. She's graduated. Yes. My middle one is 17, and then younger one is 15. Right. So, mashallah, you know, yeah. So going back to schools was really good opportunity to give children coming from disadvantaged backgrounds access point to the creative industry, because it's when you go into fashion, you realize how elitist it is, and it's only catering for the privileged class. And I thought, my God, why can't we open it up to people who can't afford it, but at least they can experience it? So what they would do is that those winners, those children, 9-10-year-olds, will come to my fashion shows, and I'll give them front row seats so that they have an opportunity to see a fashion show. Exactly. You know, that these little things really can be life-changing for one child.
And then what an insight, isn't it, of how someone works, and just to see something for themselves.
Absolutely.
They're probably buzzing from that experience for the rest of their life. And it's probably not an opportunity. I think giving them opportunities, isn't it? It's like, I think anything in mentoring or anything with young people is to kind of create some opportunities or some avenues of that they probably didn't even think of, and then to make them recognize maybe their own potential.
Oh yeah, it's planting that seed. That's what it is. It's planting that seed of inspiration to say, I can do this. It's not just for the privileged class. So I started doing that for a few years, and then I thought, let me set it up officially as the Barjis Initiative. Now, I don't just do schools. I also cater for aspirational leaders. So we're going to be launching this program. People who didn't have that access point, they don't come from well-off background, they don't have the connections and network, and they feel stuck. So I'm going to be helping them. And then a program for women who are 40 plus, you know, the people, women whose children have left, or, you know, they're trying to find themselves, and they don't know who they are because they've invested so much time in their family and their husbands.
Yeah, and they have this empty nest syndrome. I know a couple of them right now, and a couple of them got a couple of years left. And I said, start something up. I always encourage everyone start a little business.
Well, you're going to be in my cohort soon, Maryum cohort. So inshallah, I'm trying to do this program.
Very similar, because we've started. Like, I have a background in education. Wanted to start in the creative industries. I have my family is 95, probably 90% medicine. You know, and I think that anybody entering into creative industries is, at that point in time, you know, 20 years back, is a very different ball game. It's a very different ball game now with social media, and you have so many opportunities now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Whereas then, you know, there weren't, and to do something completely different, like I want to be a makeup artist, stylist, and then going to corporate styling. You know, no one, like, what do you want to do that for? What do you want to do red carpet for? Like, why, pagal? Have you gone mad? Just get a job.
I know. But I mean, you have to do what you want to do, whatever is your passion. And that's
Absolutely.
what makes you happy and what makes your heart sing. That's
Yeah.
what life is about.
Absolutely. You know, leave your mark in the world and do something different. Why do you want to be you
Exactly.
know, a follower? You know, I can never
Yeah,
do that. You know, I think that that's what it is.
exactly.
As creatives, and I think creativity doesn't have any boundaries. That's
No,
the
it
thing, that
doesn't.
if you're trying to, you know, put somebody in a box, that doesn't happen with
No.
creativity. It's a
Yeah,
global phenomena, and
it
right
is.
now creativity is the new genius. If you
It
look at
really
it,
is.
that, you know, that's creative. If you have creativity and imagination, then that's it. You know, that's the new genius. Where do you see Barjis in the future, maybe in 5 years time? Where would you like to see your brand?
As I said, I really want to go back to my country of origin. I'm kind of heavily investing in launching something in Pakistan. So I did
Nice.
an exhibition in December in London, and I would like to do the same thing in Pakistan. So we're
Right.
working on doing a lot of research to see which will be the right time. Because of COVID, things have
So
delayed.
unpredictable. Yeah, I think
Yeah,
this
it's
year is going to
lots
be
of
vital.
uncertainty.
Yeah,
Yeah, so
yeah.
we're going to wait and see how things
But
develop.
still,
But
to continue to have those conversations, and you know, it's not going to last forever. Seasons do change, so yeah,
yeah,
absolutely, having those right conversations, making those connections.
yeah.
And if there's anything that I can help you with in Pakistan, definitely let me know.
Yeah, definitely. So I'm going to do a trip, inshallah. But don't know when, but it's going to happen just to
Yeah,
meet the right people and hopefully do an exhibition in Karachi and Lahore.
yeah.
That's the whole point. Just to kind of get explore and see what people want and how they kind of receive barges, and
Yeah.
then do a limited edition, inshallah, Shalwar Kameez collection before Eid. That's the
Is
plan.
there a certain designer that you aspire to? Is there someone that you like, or you like someone's style, or a designer that you've really admired that has inspired you in your whole work?
In my whole well, there's quite a few actually, but as I said, Vivienne Westwood, I love the pattern cutting, I love the way she puts things together. I
Yeah.
like the quirkiness of Paul Smith. He's another one who I wanted as a mentor, and I sent him a letter, handwritten letter, and he replied back.
Oh,
um,
wow.
yeah, he replied back with a postcard handwritten that Barges, I would love to be your mentor, but at the moment I don't have the time. And
Yeah.
I really respect that how he started, and he didn't really have any investors or anything, and
Yeah.
how he built his business. Alice and Olivia, I love their prints. I love Tory Burch. There's quite a few designers that I really do
Anybody from
admire.
Pakistan that you really like?
I like some aspects of HSY. I think
Yeah.
some of his work is really good. I like the prints of some of the designers. Faraz Manan is quite nice.
Yeah.
But I feel that in Pakistan, everyone's doing the same thing. It's
Yeah.
like everyone's playing safe.
Mm.
There is the creativity is kind of going downhill instead of going up. So, you know, bridal wear is all the same. The lawn collection is all the
What
same.
would you like to see different in bridal wear if you were to do it then? What is
I
it that
think
you would like
bridal
to see
wear
different?
it should be about the person. It shouldn't be like everyone looks the same. You
Thank you so
really,
much. You know what? This is the reason that I didn't like doing bridal,
yeah,
is because I
yeah,
thought I don't want everybody looking like a Christmas tree. I don't want
exactly,
to wear makeup. And when I
exactly.
started
Yes,
styling, I was like, your makeup doesn't go with your clothing, and your clothing
yeah,
doesn't go with your jewelry, and it's not in balance, it's not in sync, and you are not
no,
in sync on the day.
yeah.
Who are you gonna be?
Who
And
are you? Yeah,
recognize in 30, 20 years when your kids pick up your photo
yeah,
album and say, like, Mummy, is this you?
yeah.
And it
So
has
true.
to, you have to be authentic, and you have to resonate with who you are from.
I designed my own wedding dress, which I'll share with you one day. But it
Oh,
was like kind
nice.
of a Victorian dress because I wanted to put a quintessential British take to it. And then it had
Yeah.
a huge train, but the silhouette was very Victorian.
Oh,
So it's,
lovely.
and then I
What
kind of
do you
mixed
like? Is that something? Is there a decade or an era that you like?
it was definitely kind of Victorian era, but then I had to put a lot of embellishment, which comes from Pakistani roots,
You've got
but
to
in
have a
a
bit of
very
both.
minimal way. In a minimal
Oh,
way.
right. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so it's like it was Zardozi, but it was just one color. That's it, nothing
Oh,
else,
right.
no other color
Nice.
with it,
Yeah.
top to bottom. So I'll share that one day, and I showed that at the at my exhibition now. I would love to show it in Pakistan too. But that was like 23 years ago, mashallah. But still, it's classic and timeless. So if I do bridal wear, it would be understanding the bride and understanding who she is as a
Yeah.
person, and making that one piece just for her.
Yeah, absolutely. It's got to be absolutely tailor-made and unique for
Yeah,
her. You know,
yeah,
actually, that's just sparked something off, like also on Selfridges uh, Instagram page. I read that they're doing like a 100-piece capsule wardrobe, which are top designers, and you've even got kind of bags and earrings in there.
yeah,
I'm not sure about the shoes. I didn't check, but so you're able to rent these designer pieces
yeah.
um, from them
Hmm.
for, I think, for a number of days. I can't remember the
Yeah.
days that I posted it on my Instagram as well. But you're able to do that, like you could rent out these garments, right? So what do you think that that is a way forward for people to maybe explore brands without investing and buying so much? And do you think that would be a trend that catch on or not?
Um, I think nobody wants to kind of share a Yves Saint Laurent. Yeah, if you want to Yves Saint Laurent, like you want to buy it, it's going to be yours.
Yeah.
So it really some people it's okay, but some people who it's not about just purchasing, it's purchasing a part of the designer. So and they don't want to share it with anybody. So
Yeah.
I think for a certain market, yeah, definitely it's good for sustainability. It's also good for circular fashion.
Yeah.
And I think the trend is really, especially for evening wear, because you only wear it once and you don't want to wear it again.
Yeah, because
So
I
if
look
you're
at
going
it
to
like when I'm
party,
sourcing something for a celebrity, we borrow and we rent garments, right?
yeah,
Get the wardrobe from all
yeah,
places, all different designers to cater for that one celebrity. So if we have now become the celebrity and we are also the paparazzi and we are always on show, we're always having to change our clothes. I feel like
yeah.
people don't understand how to make one or two, three people garments, items of clothing, and they can turn it around in so many different ways. But people, I find, are wanting to change their outfits every single picture, every single event, every single, you know what I mean? They can't reuse or repurpose that. And I think, okay, repurpose it in a different style or a different way, put it with some different accessories or do your hair differently or something. But people just don't want to do that.
No, they don't. It's all about consumption, isn't it? And I think that's what circular fashion is really important to educate the market. That
Mm.
it's okay to wear the same outfit 2 or 3 times at an event. It doesn't
Yeah.
really make you feel small or like, that
No.
you can't afford it. You love that designer, so you want to wear that designer again and again. You love that
Yeah.
outfit. And
Cut,
it's part of you.
the color, whatever it is,
Exactly. It makes you
and a
feel
compliment
important
to
and
you.
special.
But also, I think that ever since I moved to Dubai, and I think I had a bit of a spiritual journey also when I was in Dubai. I had so many bags and shoes and clothes that I would just buy. You know what I mean? I was just, you just consume, just
Yeah.
buy, buy, buy. I don't know if it's maturity or age or, just, some common sense that's coming to me. But I do find that I'm not as liberal with my money, and I don't want to buy just for the sake of buying.
Yeah.
I'm buy consciously now.
Yeah.
And buy, I have kind of reduced the fact that also I'm going to be accountable for everything that I buy. I'm responsible for everything. Then, a lot of things I've just bagged up, I think probably about more than 10 bags for charity, and I'm waiting for someone to collect it. So, you know what I mean? I've bagged up all of my desi clothes, all of
Yeah.
my English clothes, because like like Asians, we don't like throwing things away. You know what I mean? So like even I love my clothes. I like treat them
Yeah.
like part of my
Yeah.
chapter of my life, but I
Yeah.
look after them. But I've realized that I bought a bit too much. So
Yeah.
I've really reduced that, and I think people need to really. I think people have started to. They've started to recognize that we don't need so many clothes. You
I,
know?
I, I think it's all about how you're feeling from within, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think that once you feel a bit complete and you don't feel empty, then consumerism takes a second seat. So
Yeah.
it's about filling your heart and your soul with other things that make you happy, because
Yeah.
before materialistic things are only for a short while.
Yeah.
After that, they don't make you feel happy. Then you want to buy something else. It becomes a
Yeah.
vicious circle.
I mean, I love
And
clothes for and love style. I love as an expression and as a
yeah,
mood. I
yes,
complete like I was in my pajamas for like a good couple of days over the weekend,
yeah,
and I was like, okay, just chilling out in front of Netflix and whatever.
yeah.
mood changes in the way
It
that
does.
you style yourself, and it is actually styling and fashion actually helps with depression. Do you know that actually if
It
you
does.
look after
It
yourself,
does.
you look
It
after so
does.
many people that are in lockdown in these last few months have just let themselves go. And when you get up in the morning, get dressed and go out and go to work, it's a different feeling. And that routine had stopped,
Yeah.
dressing up and looking good, but you've got to look good for yourself. And I think fashion is and style is just such an expression for yourself. You're
That's it.
expressing from the inside out. you know
Yeah.
so in that way, it definitely is a kind of a paracetamol for everybody that is
It
sort
is.
of
I have to put my lipstick on because that kind of makes that transition from my personal life to my professional life, even though I'm working from home, because it's telling me, okay, now I need to work. I've got my lipstick on.
Well, I went to see a cousin of mine in Pakistan, and she had an operation, and so I went to visit her. She had this bright red lipstick on,
Yeah.
and I said, "Baji, what have you got? I was like, you got red lipstick on, and you're limping around, and what's going on?" She goes, "Because you know what? When I put my lipstick on, I feel so much better." She goes, "I feel like I'm just, I'm well. You know what I mean?" So
Yeah.
she goes, "I just need my red lipstick, and that's it."
Totally. Totally. Yeah.
So.
It can really kind of cheer your mood for a little while. It's therapy for some people.
What would you say to your younger self, in a situation that you are
I
now?
think
What
I think
advice would you give to some young person or to your younger self?
I think stop being so competitive. That's how I was. I was very competitive when I was younger. So I wanted
Where
to
did
be
that
the
come from?
best in
Your
everything.
where did that streak come from?
Maybe I'm a
You
middle
belong
child. It's
from a
middle
big
child
family?
syndrome, being the middle person in the family. So I think maybe the positioning in the family, I
Right.
don't know. So it's like I felt that, as middle children, you sometimes your parents give you attention, but you just kind of don't receive it, or you don't want to receive it. So in that sense, maybe that's what it was. But I would say to young people is that don't don't become too competitive. Just go with the flow and take risks. I think that's really important, especially in work. Take risk. Fail. Don't be afraid of failure, because
Yeah.
failure is a life lesson. You learn more through failure than success, and I think I
And
wouldn't be the
somebody who
person
wants
I
to
am.
become follow in your footsteps and wants to start a fashion brand, what advice would you give to
I
somebody?
think first go to art schools, learn fashion first. I think that's really important.
Yeah.
You might be really creative naturally, but you won't have the technical expertise.
Yeah.
And it's really important to understand, the frame of a body, and how patterns work and how
Yeah.
fabrics work. So I think get, like, if you want to study medicine or become a doctor, you have to go to medical school. The
Yeah.
same thing with fashion, you have to go to fashion school. Also get work experience, work with designers, so you understand the insights of running a business and
Yeah.
setting up as a fashion designer.
Yeah. To equally understand the business of fashion.
Yeah, exactly. You have to, I mean, that's only 1% of the business is the creativity. The rest of it is like, it's just hard work. It really is. Putting a collection together, marketing the collection, understanding your audience, your customer, and also adapting and being flexible. Like in COVID, every designer had to kind of revisit, who are they? Why we created this brand? Are we really kind of taken it in the right direction or the wrong direction, and then kind of resetting it. So the flexibility and adaptability, for any business is really important.
Somebody who wants to start a new business, or some words of encouragement that somebody throughout this, even this COVID season that we're going through, um, to help with creativity, to help us, and something inspirational that we can do in this next 6 months.
I think first thing is that there's no age or barrier to succeeding or starting something. So
Yeah.
even if you are 70 or 30 or 40, whatever age, if you want to set up your business or do something or educate yourself, you can do that. So
Yeah.
age is not a limit. Secondly is that you don't need a lot of money to set up your business or do something, because that people think, oh my God, I have to set up my business and then get an investor and then scale up and then
Yeah.
exit and retire by the age of 40. I think we need to stop this startup mindset that we have and just kind of go with the flow. And you only have one life, so it's like you're limited in this world. What do you want your legacy? What impact do you want to leave?
Great. Thank you so much for coming on the podcast. I'm so delighted that you share all your knowledge, and and your insights into different industries as well, and different continents, and where creativity leads. You know, there is no boundaries to anything, is there? And if you
Thank
put
you
a mind
so
to it, you
much.
can do anything.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Thank you, Maryum. I wish you all the best. And
And
yeah, it's
likewise, I wish you all
wonderful.
the best to this next few months of COVID. I hope that inshallah everybody is safe and well, and then we get through this
Yeah,
next few months, and then we can all
inshallah.
get together and have a big party and
That would be wonderful.
enjoy
I
our
would
Egypt
love to
company
meet
in
you.
person. You know,
Yes,
that's what I wish, that everybody's safe and well until we can get back into some
inshallah.
another normal, inshallah. But you know, all the success for the future. I look forward
Thank
to
you.
seeing your
Thank you
designs
so
and
much.
initiatives and be part of it. And we'll see you on probably part 2, maybe next year.
Inshallah. Thank you so much for having me. I wish you all the best. You're wonderful. I love your smile, and that's what kind of attracted me to you in the first place. You
Oh,
know,
thank
there's
you
this
so
kind of
much. That's what it
positivity,
is.
this
We're going to
vibe
help
that you
everybody
have.
else
It's
along the way.
quite contagious.
Oh, thank you so much. Well, I just want to help,
Yes, totally,
all,
totally,
just want to help all the other ladies on the way. And if we can help and share and encourage them in some kind of in shape or form, I think the job is
totally,
done.
totally.
And I'm sure that you've been
We're
such an
all in it
inspiration.
together.
Absolutely. And it's lovely to hear your
Totally.
story and to share your knowledge. And thank you so
Thank you
much
so
once
much.
again.
Thank you.
And take care and look after yourself.